Good people of YouTube, my name is Spanner. Welcome back to another episode of Deathgate. Okay, we're in the dead world of Abarak. Because everyone is literally dead. Let's read the children's book. We heard the nanny read it, but let's see exactly what it says. The smallest people made their home in caves and caverns all their own. They'll only come outside to play when all the arrows point the way. Which way, you ask? Where are they found? Just out of sight, under the ground. Don't look too close, they'll run away unless the arrows point the way. Oh, there's more. The day. Yellow night, sky is bright, all the world is filled with light. Just because sun's above, every heart is filled with love. Get that snake. Grab the snake and hold him fast, don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. 4 and 1. 1 makes 4 and 1 left over. The one we've got is just a cave. Started out warm but got much colder, it's just like living in the grave. Where are the others? They disappeared, perhaps something went very wrong. If they survived, not like we feared, why have they stayed away so long? Oh, you leave the book open to the rhyme 4 and 1. Huh. So hold on.
Let me give you back your book. Please, read from it. I do so love your dulcet tones.
1 makes 4 and 1 left over. The one we
Oh, she reads the page where it's open.
Not warm, but got much colder. It's just like living in the grave. Where are the others? They disappeared. Perhaps something went very wrong. If they survived, not like we feared, why have they stayed away so long?
Very interesting. Okay, let me give you the tea set. Not to the chain, to the butler. You hand the tea set to the dead butler. He accepts it gravely and looks over at the double doors, then he just waits.
How may I be of assistance, sir?
Now that you have the tea, what are you waiting for? Open the door and give it to your master.
Yes, I do have the tea, but I must wait until the appointed time until I open the door. Otherwise, I might interrupt a vital experiment. That would be disastrous for Balthazar's research, and perhaps for myself as well.
So we might have to mess with the clock tower.
What time is tea served?
The 4th hour. I'll recognize it when the tower clock strikes 4 bells. He expects his tea at the same time every day.
You're as interesting as a
Okay,
corpse.
4th
This
hour.
conversation is over.
As you wish.
Okay, let's head to the clock tower. A ladder attached to the tower wall leads up to the clock's mechanism, but the ladder is broken. Some rungs are missing, some merely split. Actually, the ladder is no longer usable. The base of the tower is unadorned, a ladder leads up, but it is broken. A rope hangs down within reach. A metal hook is tied to the rope hanging down from the clock mechanism far above. Can I use this on the hook? I can, you hang the bucket on the hook. So maybe if we place some rocks... Wait, it's tied to the clock mechanism. Oh, maybe I need to climb it, so maybe if we place some rocks inside, it'll become heavier. Maybe I can climb it? Yes. You grab the hanging rope and haul yourself up. You stand on a small platform behind the clock's mechanism. The back of the clock face takes up the west wall. Wait, so... Now that you've gone through the trouble to substitute the bucket for the clock's missing weight, it seems... Oh, it's to substitute the weight, so I probably could have just climbed this. Okay. 2 metal doors are set into... I thought I needed to do that to get the rope lower for us to climb it. 2 metal doors are set into the walls of the tower clock along the track. Presumably, they open when the statue wheels along it on the stroke of the hour. You pull the release lever, but nothing happens. Oh, I turned the crank. With both hands you turn the crank and wind the rope around the drum until you see the hook. The drum locks when the rope has been drawn entirely up. The weight of the rocks in the bucket pulls at the rope wrapped around the clock's drum. Slowly it begins to unwind, turn the drum and move the clock's gears. You'd have to be holding the platform before you can put it on the timed... Oh. You hear 2 distinct bongs of the clock tower's bell. The doors to either side of the clock face open and an iron statue grinds inside along the rusty track. Oh! Humanoid statue! Let's perhaps use... motion. I have a feeling we'll need that scepter. Oh. This far from the ground, the spell has no immediate effect, but if someday a work crew takes the statue down for cleaning, they'll be in for a surprise. Can I take the scepter? The scepter is made from the same slab as iron as the stone. You can't remove it. The headpiece of the scepter is held firmly by iron tongs. You can't budge it by hand. Let's turn the time dial. Let's make it 4. Escapement. Let's pull the release lever. As soon as you pull the lever, the drum starts spinning uncontrolled. Okay. This moves the weight back down. Let's turn the crank. And what's this escapement? The escapement is part of the clock's mechanism. When a weight pulls and unwinds the rope around the drum, the escapement only allows it to drop in small increments. This causes the gears to turn slowly, moving the clock's hand at a steady pace to ensure accurate time. Currently, the weight of the bucket of rocks is drawing the rope down and the clock is working. You hear 4 distinct bongs of the clock tower's bell. Okay, 4. Oh, okay, we need to climb down, so let's pull the release lever and climb back down. Okay, the butler went in, so let's go in as well. There is no Balthazar.
If you'll excuse me a moment, sir, I must serve the tea and leave immediately. I'll talk with you afterward.
The dead butler jerks into motion and shuffles out the double doors, closing them behind him. Let's look at the desk. The desk is the focus of the room, perhaps the place that most of the work was accomplished. The desk doesn't have any drawers to look through, so you sift through some of the papers on top, but there's nothing of interest in them. The furniture is either carved from rock or made from petrified weeds of some sort. Actually, the end result is rather attractive. Here's a book, let's take it and read it. Okay, what's this one about? Nothing. Ah, Balthazar's notes. I record these notes in no particular order, with no particular format. Should this text be read by others than myself, I can but apologize in advance. My name is Balthazar, and I am the king's personal necromancer. My duties include raising and maintaining the royal servants, though my deeper interests lie in the pursuit of other lost magical arts. The following notes comprise the results of a lifetime of research into these arts, as well as my personal musings on these and other matters. Necromancy. I've never considered the practice of necromancy to be on strong moral grounds. We have established that, in order to survive in this harsh world, the dead are required to serve the living. Their labor supports our existence, but do we truly know what we're doing? What exactly are we bringing back, and how do our temperings affect the rest of the wave? The dead never appear especially unhappy, merely confused. In their own unfathomable minds, they exist in a time previous to their deaths. They perform the duties which they performed in life. In fact, it's almost impossible to teach the dead anything new. Their capacity to focus on unfamiliar tasks is minimal. A corpse can be given new orders, but in due course, depending on the nature of the particular specimen, it will inevitably revert to modes of behavior it demonstrated in life. There is no harm done when the tasks that the specimen performed in life have some application after death, but sometimes those tasks have little or no worth in our world, and yet the corpse, living mentally in its former reality, cannot be persuaded to abandon its behavior. Occasionally, the behavior can be modified to one of useful purpose. But more often, all we can do is ignore the corpse, which strikes me as a regrettable waste of manpower. Nevertheless, when the densest corpse can be used for menial tasks, and this becomes their primary value. Corpses can be made to perform functions which the living cannot, or would not, perform. I can't recall a time when battles were waged by living soldiers. Why trouble ourselves when we have available so many who have already fallen? Their insensitivity to pain allows them to sustain blows that would cripple a living soldier. The dead don't stop until they can no longer move. In addition to war, corpses can be induced to undertake all potentially harmful tasks, such as fending off attacks from would-be predators. Claws and poison stings are fearful only to those who are aware of the consequences. Personally, I feel that we should be focusing our magic on keeping ourselves alive, rather than on resurrecting ourselves from death. With the plague more rampant than ever, we are fighting a losing battle. Even now, the dead outnumber the living. Possession. Whenever I begin to research a new spell, I always start by attempting to build runes onto established spells. Sometimes an entirely new spell can be discovered by adding a single rune onto a totally unrelated spell. This was the case with Possession, the art of casting one's soul into a lower life form. I started by taking some basic runes and building onto them. Many of the standard spell bases turned out to be dead ends. I foraged through some of my ancient texts without much success, but I did discover an obscure warding spell of awesome power. One wouldn't think that the warding spell could be manipulated into a possession spell, but forceful spells are sometimes born from the most unlikely sources. The warding spell has a long history. I don't know if it has ever been used in Abarak. It can only be cast by a group of very powerful sartan. The spell creates a huge shield that repels any foreign magic. I remain uncertain as to its original purpose. The diagram of its rune structure follows. Okay, will I just learn the spell or do I need to make it? We'll see. Using this as a base, I experimented by adding variations of runes onto the end. The process was long and tedious, but as it happened, only one rune was needed to fashion an altered spell. The diagram of the new spell follows. It looks like you can add more. The result was the Possession spell. Testing it proved somewhat difficult. There are certain limitations inherent in the magic. One can only cast one's soul into a lower life form, such as the Pokus we used as beasts of burden. One must have physical contact with the target. The soul transfers through touch, so the spell cannot be cast over distance. While one is inhabiting the possessed body, the original body is rendered immobile and helpless. I have some theories regarding the dynamics of the spell. If the original body is for some reason destroyed, the soul should be capable of continued existence in the new body. Eventually, however, that soul will forget its previous existence and come to think and behave in accordance with the inclinations of the possessed body. But even then, the original soul should prove retrievable by the application of certain spells. It might even be possible to reconstruct the original body by using the host body while the soul still exists. Unfortunately, my research has not revealed the spells required to accomplish this, the knowledge of which would have been of great comfort during the test phase of possession. The extent of our lost knowledge is shameful. Surely our ancestors had access to these and innumerable other magical spells, and I am merely passing over well-trodden grounds. If only my own library was more complete. And there's more. Unravel illusion. Another art that has intrigued me for some time is illusion. I have many books on the subject, though none of them detail the entire spell. The use of this magic produces insidious results. The spell speaks directly to the reasoning center of the brain of higher animals, such as sartan, Patryns, and even the mensch races. The spell persuades the brain to accept that something is there when it isn't, or that something isn't there when it is. For example, an illusion spell can create a table in the middle of an empty room. Even though the person viewing the table might grasp that the table is an illusion, he will not be able to pass his hand through it, because the spell has convinced his brain otherwise. Possibilities abound for employing this spell, and I regret that all attempts to reproduce it have left me with nothing to show for my efforts. However, I have been somewhat more successful in researching the Unravel illusion spell by approaching it from reverse. My reasoning is that I might be able to build the spell by first determining how to break an illusion. At the time of this writing, I have not yet discovered the spell, but I suspect that I am very close. The Exodus. I knew that this day would come. Water has become more scarce each day. The fields of cairn grass are withering, and the lake, our primary water source, is drying up. Soon the lake will be nothing but mud, and then little more than rock and dust. The Colossus must be failing. When our ancestors built it, the Colossus was intended to last forever, heating our world, melting the sea of ice above, and distributing the water throughout. Its magic is dying. We must travel back into the core of Abarak, where our ancestors originated, where the remaining magic is strongest. Life will still be possible there. Although all I've seen are pictures and descriptions in my texts, I am sure that if I could examine the Colossus firsthand, I might be able to determine the problem and help to correct it. There is no other choice. We shall sail back to Cairn Necros, to the palace of Cletus XIV, the current dynast, on the northwestern edge of the Fire Sea. Out of respect, we shall beseech His Majesty for permission to live in Cairn Necros while the Colossus is being repaired. I don't anticipate any resistance. Who would refuse refugees, especially ones eager to help correct the problem? And as I have stated, we have no choice but to go, for life in Telestia will shortly become unfeasible. The problem of transporting the dead is an extremely challenging one. Many of them, removed from their familiar surroundings, will grow disoriented. 3 at least will find it impossible to adapt, so we've decided to leave them behind. The first is my own servant, Aramis. He has been with my family for as long as I can remember. Although his thoughts are as clear as the best of the dead, he is simply too frail to undertake the journey. I will leave him here where he is comfortable. The second is my nanny. Lately she has fallen victim to a repetitive behavior, that of reading children's stories over and over again. Should the book she loves be taken away from her, she is despondent until it is returned. Not only will she be useless to us where we are going, I doubt she could survive the trip intact. The last is Jethro, one of the crop workers. He is among the most physically well-developed corpses that we have, but his brain is like a sieve. He waters his crops as if they were still growing, as if there was still water to pour on them. If he is instructed to do something else, he will perform that task for a few moments, only to wander right back to watering his crops. We can't spare one of the living to supervise him by continually reminding him to accompany us, and we haven't the time to train one of the dead to do it, so it would be best to leave him here. An ending. I leave these notes for you to find, reader. Their purpose is to shed light on who we are and where we have gone, so that you will follow in our path. Do not remain here, life is impossible. Follow us to the core, where we have a fighting chance. Okay, so have I learned spells? Okay, we have a new location available. I have learned 2 spells. Possession and wards. It looks like I could add something there. Oh, is 5... Oh, perhaps not. You exit the study, making certain to leave the doors unlocked in case you wish to return. You stand in the foyer of a small house. Yeah. Okay, let's try something else.
Would you accompany
Come with me, Jethro. Okay, Jethro is here. Go grab that snake.
Go grab that snake.
The worker turns his gaze to the coiled snake in the middle of the cave. He shuffles over and grabs it. If a snake could look surprised, you'd swear it was stunned by this hulking corpse. It whips around and bites him, but the worker doesn't even seem to notice. Oh, I think I know what I need to do. Without any direction, the confused corpse releases the enraged snake and wanders back to his beloved fields, leaving you and the snake to talk things over. Yeah, remember how the nanny had a poem... not a poem, a story called Go Grab That Snake or something like that?
Would you accompany me? I know where your book is.
You know where my book is?
Yeah. Get that snake. They'll only come outside to play when all the arrows point the way. Which way, you ask? Where are they found? Last out of sight under the ground. Unless the arrows point the way. Doesn't tell what the way is. Okay, we'll leave it on get that snake. Okay, accompany me, Jethro.
Accompany me?
Okay. Go grab that snake.
Grab that snake.
And I'll give the book back to the dead nanny.
Grab the snake and hold him fast.
You give the book to the dead nanny. The idea of following you flies out of her decayed brain as she starts reading the open page aloud. In hollow tones, she recites the nursery rhyme, Get That Snake. The worker seems reassured by the rhyme. He tightens his grip on the snake and plants himself in place. Okay, we solved the snake puzzle. Now we need to solve the arrows puzzle, but that'll have to wait until next time. For now, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed some more Deathgate, and as usual, don't miss the next episode, because I won't. I will see you all next time.